Nanalo ng Family Feud ng Team Santos ng 200,000 pesos. Upload natin ang 5 parts bukas tuwing Sabado. Family Feud.
5:40 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
p.m. today.
This is DW News. These are our top stories. Top diplomats from Iran and the United States are set to hold talks in the Gulf state of Oman amid rising tension. Washington wants Tehran to cut back its nuclear program and end the crackdown on anti-government protests. Iran says it will only discuss nuclear matters. The U.S. and Israel attacked Iran's nuclear facilities last year. Ukraine and Russia have ended a round of peace talks in Abu Dhabi with no breakthrough, but both sides are calling the negotiations productive. An agreed exchange of prisoners was overshadowed by fresh Russian airstrikes. Ukraine's President Zelensky says there should be more talks soon, probably in the United States. Nigeria's president has deployed the army to the western state of Kwara after gunmen killed more than 160 people there late on Tuesday. No group has yet claimed responsibility. At least 21 people were killed in a separate assault in Katsina State in northern Nigeria.
Okay.
This is DW News from Berlin. More on the website dw.com.
New Zealand. It's Thursday, February 5th. Today, Trump pulls 700 ICE agents out of Minnesota. We look at how much of a risk AI is to the jobs market. Savannah Guthrie makes an emotional plea for her mother's return. And the US-Russia nuclear pact expires at a tricky time. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week.
It's bug.
I have announced effective immediately. We will draw down 700 people effective today.
US Border Czar Tom Homan in Minneapolis announcing a reduction in ICE and Border Patrol agents in Minnesota. The move will still leave some 2,000 agents in the area. Homan says the drawdown comes alongside greater cooperation from local authorities. One of the demands Homan had made is for local authorities to let ICE into prisons. Our reporter Maria Svetskova in Minneapolis says that's been agreed to.
We don't know the exact extent of this cooperation, but we know that ICE wants to access jails, and specifically immigrants who are being released from jails. And he claimed that access was given to get to the people in custody before they hit the streets.
Minnesota says its state-run prison system already gives ICE everything the law requires. The Department of Corrections notifies ICE anytime it takes in someone convicted of a felony who isn't a US citizen. And when ICE sends a detainer request asking the prison to hold on to someone so federal agents have time to pick them up, Minnesota says some sheriffs argue that letting federal agents inside their jails can make immigrant communities less willing to report crimes. The Supreme Court has ruled that California can use a new congressional map. The The decision gives Democrats 5
Wow,
more potential
faster.
seats, offsetting the 5 red seats added by Texas's new map, also approved by the Supreme Court last year. It's a major victory for the Democrats as they look to win back control of the House in the November midterms. To markets now and the big tech sell-off we saw this week. Here's Morning Bid host Mike Dolan with the latest.
Yeah, tech sector volatility is continuing right through the night and into Thursday's trading, despite an astonishing plan by Alphabet to more than double its capital expenditure in 2026, which is more than 50% above what people had expected it to do. Its stock is still down ahead of the bell. So the whole AI story has raised the question this week, is it good for the stock market or does it disrupt as many companies as it benefits?
Thanks, Mike. And you can listen to Morning Bid wherever you get your podcasts. That AI-fueled stock sell-off is once again raising questions over whether this transformative technology poses an existential threat to the jobs market. And some of the latest figures from Europe are looking into just that. Mark John is our European economics editor.
So I think we have to say that so far any impact is really showing up more in smaller surveys rather than the actual official unemployment numbers. But that said, there is increasing evidence that slowing down the hiring because they believe there will be some kind of productivity payoff from AI-driven automation. And last week we had the head of the Federal Reserve in the US, Jerome Powell, who said that there could be a link between the rise of AI use.
To assassinate Donald Trump at a Florida golf course in September of 2024 has been sentenced to life in prison. 59-year-old Ryan Ralph was convicted last fall after prosecutors showed he'd spent weeks tracking Trump's movements. He was caught by Secret Service after waiting nearly 10 hours in the bushes with a rifle.
Oh, damn.
It was the second assassination attempt against Trump during the 2024 campaign. The first 2 months earlier in Pennsylvania, when Trump was grazed by a bullet during a rally. Ralph represented himself at the trial and offered little defense. When the verdict was read, he tried to stab himself with a pen and had to be restrained. The last nuclear arms treaty between Russia and the United States has expired. The expiration of the New START treaty leaves the world's 2 biggest nuclear powers without any limits for the first time in more than half a century. Putin has proposed extending the treaty's limits, but Russian officials say Washington hasn't responded. Trump has given mixed signals, saying he wants China included in any new agreement. Reporter Mark Trevelyan is our lead writer on the Russia desk.
Ever since 1969, when the
1969.
Soviet Union and the United States first embarked on these conversations, there has always been either a treaty in place to limit strategic nuclear weapons or a process of negotiation underway. And right now, none of those two things is in place. So it leaves a vacuum in which the risk, according to arms control experts, is that each side will basically have to proceed on the basis of worst-case assumptions about what the other is doing. And that can lead us into an inexorable build-up with each side adding more and more warheads on the assumption. To go for an extension of the limits in the treaty, because that would have tied the Americans' hands. Those people are arguing that Trump should free the United States right now from the New START limits in order to respond to a big and rapid build-up of China's nuclear arsenal. China is now at an estimated 600 warheads. The Pentagon thinks it could get to 1,000 warheads within a relatively short period of time. That's still thousands less than Russia and the United States, but it's catching up. And so the argument is that the United States is facing an imminent future where it will have to deal with not one, but 2 nuclear rivals, and therefore it should, according to the proponents of this argument, it should increase its nuclear arsenal.
And for today's recommended read, we look at how a team working for US spy chief Tulsi Gabbard led an investigation into Puerto Rico's voting machines last spring. Sources say the goal was to investigate claims that Venezuela had hacked voting machines
Venezuela.
there, but the probe did not produce any clear evidence of Venezuelan interference. Gabbard's office has confirmed the investigation but denied the Venezuela link. There's a link to that story in the pod description. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.